Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Friday, April 14th, around 11 a.m. Mountain Time 2023. Two large earthquakes over the last 24 hours, a 7 magnitude in Indonesia and a 6.0 up in the Cascadia zone. Also, ash from Shivalush's multiple eruptions, continuously erupting again today, has made its way to British Columbia. Here are the advisories for today. The big story, however, is Fort Lauderdale Airport remains open now after devastating floods hit the region. Keep calm. It's boom time. We've never seen anything like this, Ennis told CNN. I've never seen this volume of water, and I've seen Hurricane Katrina. I've seen many hurricanes. Over a foot of rain fell in a short period of time in the Fort Lauderdale region. Take a look at this. The standing water stayed for over 24 hours and is still draining. So, rain was akin to high-end hurricane force, and we did warn of a tropical system developing earlier in the week that would hit the region. Now, snowmelt is spurring flooding in other areas, including the Southwest all the way to the Rockies. 2 rescues yesterday. And the San Juan River, right here in Pagosa, has reached 3 consecutive days of record peak runoff. All-time records being broken. So the record we broke today, and you can see the river came up to 2,300 cubic feet per second last night, shattering the record set back in 1985. Of 1,930. So, big runoff, record runoff here and many other regions. As severe storms are expected to fire over the plains today, as well as the Mississippi Valley through the weekend. Storms bring risk of large hail, low tornado threat to parts of Oklahoma, so heads up there. And Oklahoma dry line brings fire danger as well on Friday. Severe storms could bring risk of large hail and tornadoes to Oklahoma. Didn't we just say that? Have you heard about the Texas dairy farm explosion? Yeah, it's probably not a conspiracy, but 18,000 cows were slaughtered. That's equivalent to all the beef that we harvest in 3 days in the U.S. So that is a big loss in Texas. Certainly the nexus of the schmexus. Here's the full forecast. Critical fire weather today from the southwest U.S. to the Great Lakes. Severe thunderstorms in the southeast. Dry, gusty winds will support another day of elevated to critical fire weather from the southwest U.S. into the Great Lakes today. Widespread red flag warning stretch from Arizona all the way to Michigan. A few tornadoes along with damaging gusts and isolated large hail are possible with severe thunderstorms across parts of the southeast, with the highest threat over southern Georgia. And here we are at the convection map where you can see that elevated, just a slight chance today, elevated chance of high convection where we could see tornadoes and large hail. That's going to be falling just over Kansas and southeast Nebraska. So let's take a look at the forecast. It's currently snowing here in Colorado. Snow forecast today as a system will develop over the northern plains and bomb out over Ontario. Here we can see here moving it through your Saturday. And that's when an elevated risk of severe weather is going to develop in the south here. Saturday through Sunday, overnight here for, take a look, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. So heads up, and that's going to rapidly move over Florida as this system bombs out at the end of the weekend here, moving its way up into Canada and through the Great Lakes, bringing some snow ho-ho as another potential atmospheric river comes in and hits the Sierras to the north. Let's take a look at the snowfall totals. And the new forecast models aren't out completely, so we'll use the old run here at 6Z. Here is the snow through Saturday and into Sunday morning. Most of the snow is going to be falling in Wyoming and Colorado until the system starts to bomb out here. Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan picking up on the action. Biggest totals there probably right through the center of Wisconsin there, where it's showing 16 to 18 inches potentially, and then 3 to 4 feet of snow up in Ontario. Ho, ho, ho. Some lake effect snow potentially up in the northeast, and then another system is hitting the Sierras there, bringing heavy snow here to the northern California, southern Oregon state line here near the coast with the most, up to 3 or 4 feet of snow there potentially. And another system will be moving through the northern plains next weekend to add insult to injury. So stay tuned. Winter is still falling. Shut up, Al! Now, Lebanon sees rare snow, and Boise, Idaho breaks records. U.S. ski reports extending into the summer. And we talked about the historic Grand Canyon snow delays. That won't be open well into the summer. The North Rim, what a bummer. Now, scientists are worried that there is a leak at the bottom of the sea, and it could spell disaster. In fact, sonar images of Pythia's oasis shows bubbling rising from the seafloor. The bad news is that this region is on the Cascadia fault line. Loss of fluid found on the offshore megathrust could lower the fluid pressure that is found between the sediment particles, according to researchers. This lowered pressure could then lead to friction between the oceanic and continental tectonic plates. In simpler terms, it could cause the tectonic plates under the ocean and those under the continental U.S. to lock, creating stress that could eventually result in a massive Cascadia megathrust. That's just the last thing we need. Here's the paper. Fluid sources and overpressure within the central Cascadia subduction zone reveal a warm, high-flux seafloor seep. Now, it is not the time to weep, but eventually Cascadia will go boom. And we did have a release of pressure, 6 magnitude, off of Port McNeil, felt by no one. There is no tsunami warning. This was at the surface, 7.3 kilometers, and that is now off the map. But we do have a 7 magnitude at Blot Echo depth, all the way down to 594 kilometers, followed by an aftershock at the same depth. So we're going to keep a close eye on Indonesia, and hopefully nothing large makes its way to the surface. Appears as if there are no other quakes of note in the U.S. Interesting rumbler here in the northeast. 2.6 near west of Adams Center, New York. Pretty interesting. Now, Alaska is not expecting ash from Kamchatka for now, but drifting ash from Shiveluch prompted Alaska Airlines to cancel flights. And that's because Shiveluch continues to erupt. Another 24,000-foot puff today. And from the giant blast over 50,000 feet that happened a few days ago, that ash has made its way over to British Columbia. And so here is the ICAO volcanic ash products for today. And there will be aviation color code warnings here for a no-fly zone, probably, because the ash has reached British Columbia. And that should make for some interesting blood-red sunsets in British Columbia. Worldwide Volcano News Update. We've got Fuego, Santa Huito, Popo, Semaru, Shiveluch. Shiveluch just gave another puff to 24,000 feet just hours ago. Nevado de Ruiz puffing to 20,000. Bezamiani, which had a 16,000-foot paroxysm right before Shiveluch, is now incandescent hot rock falls continuing at the lava dome. Ebeko in the Paramushir Islands in the Kurils, volcanic activity is continuing. There you see a nice little puff. And here, Popo, strong explosions continuing as well. So quite an interesting uptick in volcanic activity in the last few days. And here's the big one. Aniakchak volcano in the Alaska Peninsula, an eruption warning. Intense seismic activity alert. Status raised to yellow. You can see the red zone there. That is a large area of uplift. 3.9 centimeters per week. So rapid uplift at Aniakchak volcano in the Alaska Peninsula. What does that mean for you and I? It means that the earthquake swarm is ongoing. Volcano warning has been raised to yellow, and there will be an eruption at Aniakchak. Now, this is a big boomer. It's a caldera. This is a VEI 6 eruption, which occurred back in 6300 BC, but you can see some other large explosions happening within the caldera recently. This one is a VEI 4, happened back in 1931. And if we go take a look, there's that big caldera, the VEI 4. It looks like a new area, a new eruption. More towards the center of the caldera is where we're going to see some action. So that's going to be happening right around here, where the new cinder cone will form if, in fact, there is an eruption. Now, based on the uplift, this is good news. It appears as if there is only enough magma in this uplift region to erupt at VEI 4, not VEI 6. So hopefully this will not be a year without a summer boom, but there will be a significant VEI 4 eruption, which will affect air travel sometime in the near future based on all activity at Aniakchak. Now, good news, volcanic forcing degrades multi-year to decadal prediction skills in the tropical Pacific. So they're now actually giving credence in this paper to volcanic forcing screwing up the climate. Yes, and cooling, in fact, wrecking the southern oscillation, the ENSO cycles, in some capacity. So let's jump over to space weather. We could see some low-level flaring in the M range just occurring now. Slight uptick here on the sun. That's because there are lots of sunspots peppering the disk, specifically this region here, which is probably going to be the most active until it turns a little around and we get the Earth-facing quiet effect. But we are at solar max with a very weak sun and very low solar activity. The 3-day geomagnetic forecast is all quiet on the Western Front, as we share with you another new space weather tool you can be using at spaceweatherlive.com, where they show everything you need to know in one place: coronal holes, sunspot regions, CMEs. You can see here solar protons, very low. Solar activity in the last few hours, and the backside of the sun. So all the links we talk about will be below. NASA confirms a meteorite fell in New England, and you could earn $25,000 for finding a piece. A fireball that caused a loud sonic boom and even lit up the daytime sky on Saturday was the first radar-observed meteorite fall seen in Maine. I know, it's insane, according to NASA. Booming noises were heard in Calais, Maine, shortly after the fireball was seen moving through the sky. This apparent meteorite fall occurred. Oh, and there we are. Is that the picture? Well, maybe we'll get to that video. Where is it? There it is. Let's take a look at the bolide, shall we? This dazzling fireball from a 3-foot meteoroid fell to Earth and is probably all over the place right here. See that? And so they're looking for a piece of the baby. Wow, wow, wow. Here is the strewn field map showing where the meteorite may have landed based on radar signatures after the first radar-observed meteorite fall occurred in Maine on April 8th. So far, no meteor pieces have been reported or found, and with winds of up to 100 miles per hour where the bolide exploded at the time of the event, small meteorites may have been carried far into Canada, near Canoes. So, get out there and go look for a piece of meteorite, because you can get paid. Where's that info? Yeah, 25 grand apparently. But click on the link for more. Yes, the Maine Mineral and Gem Museum in Bethel is offering $25,000 reward for the first meteorite they get weighed 1 kilogram or more. That's a boom if you need a couple dollars. Now, speaking of pedophiles, Prince Andrew refuses to leave his $37 million royal residence, according to reports. I wonder why. Air National Guardsman is detained by judge on charges of leaking classified documents. We revealed the leak the other day. It was happening on Discord, and they nabbed this guy. Unfortunately, Jax Teixeira is now being charged with possession of classified documents pertaining to national security and possessing national defense materials. Now, what his materials revealed was that the U.S. government is lying to the American people and the world, that the entire war in Ukraine is propaganda, the numbers are inflated, and everything is a lie. You want to know some truth? Join Leah and I tomorrow on our radio program every Saturday, noon Mountain Time, on Studio B, right here, just click play, where we are going to discuss the Valles caldera in New Mexico. Very interesting volcanic complex that was erupting at the same time that Toba was. Interesting. That's a boom to knowledge. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. We need you to share this video so that the channel can grow, as we are shadow banned on YouTube. Become a Patreon, support the work we do, and watch all of our productions commercial-free. Be safe. We love you. And that is boom.